Good evening, everybody. How are you on this Tuesday evening? I hope you're all doing really, really well. And I am really excited to be with you tonight on my own for the first time in weeks because I've been interviewing people through July, trying to bring more variety onto my pages and for you to meet new people because there are loads of amazing women out there. But you're stuck with me tonight, all on my own, some. And I am really, honestly, really disorganized. It's not like me, but I've had a really busy day today and I've got loads to share with you tonight. And I have literally just finished eating my dinner. I'm sure you don't want to know that, but I'm going to tell you that anyway. So I'm going to start by those of you who don't know me really well. I am Mandy Nicholson, and I am a creative. Hi, Lucy. Hi. I can see your comments, so I'm going to share it. Hello, Lucy. And I'm a creative genius consultant, artist, and author, and I help innovative female entrepreneurs to launch, grow, and leverage their creative business and make more money. That is my mission and my passion in life. And you might hear pinging going on. There seems to be a lot of activity in Messenger tonight. So all sorts is going to be pinging in the background there. Just put up with that for me, please, if you don't mind. It's awesome to have you here. I have had such a productive, creative, amazing day today. It's Tuesday. I've had some awesome networking. Hi, Lisa. Awesome to see you twice in one day. It was nice to see you in person earlier. So tonight, I want to talk to you about abundance thinking. And it's a thing. It really is a thing. And what's brought this to the fore for me is when I sat down this month in August is an aria for August. So if you've seen my previous posts, you'll understand what this is about. If you haven't, go and have a look after this, but I am creating an aria for August. So this week is the A in aria, and it's all about abundance. Next week will be resilience, then intuition, and then action. Now, I don't make these things up. I just literally sat down and wrote those 4 words down and realized that they created the word. Then what the word meant was it's a piece of music created for one voice that's part of a larger piece. And I love the analogy of that, in that we are unique, we have one voice, we are a creation, and we are part of a larger piece. So this week I want to talk all about abundance, how to think abundantly and manifest abundance into your life. Now, the only way I can talk about this is through experience. I cannot and I will never talk to you about things that I don't know and haven't experienced, because that's not sharing things that are factual, that's sharing hearsay. And one thing I never do is share hearsay. So what you're going to get when you watch lives with me on my channel, anywhere that I am, is everything I bring to you is based on my actual experiences of whatever it is I'm talking about. And I'm sure that you all want to think more abundantly and you all want to understand it a hell of a lot more. So what is abundance and what does it mean to you? I asked you this question yesterday. Anybody that saw yesterday's post, I asked you what does the word abundance bring up for you? Because it brings up lots of things for different people, and it brings up different things at different stages of your life. So abundance now for me is very different to abundance when I lost everything 11 years ago. But it's all relative, because abundance 11 years ago was about me creating things that I'd lost and creating new pathways and being grateful for what I had. So most people associate the word abundance to money, and it's not about money. It's not all about money. We'd all like lots of money, but if your thought patterns go to, I would like lots of money, you are not creating the right pathways to actually create abundance, because you're not seeing the big picture. You're actually blocking yourself from being able to see the pathways that take you towards abundance. Creating abundance is about looking at where you are now and seeing abundance where you are now. That's where I'm going to start. So 11 years ago it is now. Now, last year, around about this time last year, maybe a little bit earlier, I started my series on my YouTube channel and on here of my journey from bankruptcy to abundance, or abundance to bankruptcy. I can't remember even now, it's a year ago, how I presented it. And I did it over 12 weeks, and I broke down the steps that I had taken to go from rock bottom back up to buying my dream home in cash. I broke it down for everybody. It was a half-hour live every single week where I broke it down into steps. I was that generous with you. So if you really want to go back a year and watch that, then you can do. And it is about breaking it down. So 11 years ago, I lost everything. I was at rock bottom. If you want to know the story, you need to buy my book, The Life I Won. That tells the story of how I went from having everything to losing everything and being at rock bottom. But it was realizing the abundance I had at rock bottom that enabled me to create the abundance in my life to purchase my dream home for cash last year in 2019. And now I'm on a new pathway to a different level of abundance, a whole different level of abundance. And what's really, really weird is the universe aligns lots of things up for you at the right time, the time that you need them when you are open to abundance thinking. So literally, as I was eating my dinner, somebody, a very good friend of mine called Nick, had sent me a link to restoration of a Scottish castle, because she knows that I want to purchase a Scottish castle in order to hold creative retreats. That is my big goal, and that's where I'm going. And what's really, really weird is this restoration program was done a few years ago on a castle called Castiel's Castle. And it's actually up for sale now with Savills. And it's up for sale for 3.9 million. And it's on my radar as one of the castles that I'm interested in buying. It's over in Ayrshire. So isn't that weird that somebody sent me a link to a restoration program that's of a castle that's already on my radar? And that's the universe aligning into my abundance thinking. So I started my abundance thinking when I had £30 in my bank account. I looked around me and I saw that I had a roof over my head and 2 children that I loved and 2 dogs that I loved and the clothes and furniture and carpets on my floors. And I still had £30 in my bank. I was rich. I was filled with abundance of love and abundance of material things that made my life comfortable. Didn't matter that I didn't have the cash in the bank. What I did have was an abundance of knowledge and skills that could get me back from rock bottom, step by step, a bit at a time, as long as I followed the right pathways and the right thought processes in order to get me there. So I'd had a series of unfortunate events, which were lessons that had created me even more life experience. And I had all this knowledge and skills of being a senior leader for 25 years. I just had to figure out how I applied the knowledge and skills that I had to the life that I currently had in order to change it from £30 in my bank account to the abundance that sat on my big plans. That might sound really difficult for those of you that don't think like that. And I want to strip it back to basics, because that's what I always do. You start where you are. You start exactly where you are and you get your ducks in a row. But before you even get your ducks in a row, you practice at a level that you've never practiced before, forgiveness and gratitude. So you let everything that was shitty in the past go, really let it go. And you practice that at a level you've probably never practiced it before. And any of you that have watched me for a while will have heard me say this before, and you're going to hear me say it again. You've got to let go of all the things that hold you back before you can move forward. I don't care what anybody else says. This is coming from my experience. It's not coming from books. It's not coming from listening to other people. This is my experience. And letting go of everything is what enabled me to project forward, because it stopped holding me back. Being grateful for having gratitude and being grateful for what I had right there in that moment allowed me to think big enough to move myself forward. And what's also really weird is today, out of nowhere, I have just sat down and written 2,000 words of book 2. So my book 1 was The Life I Won. Book 2 is The Life I Created. And that one's going to take you on the journey from rock bottom back up to buying my house. And that one's going to be available by the end of this year. So I'm writing it now. And as I was writing those first couple of thousand words, I was writing about this ability to spring forward by letting go. And that's where your abundance thinking comes from. Because when you're not held back and you've got nothing to lose, your brain will instantly allow you to think bigger. It won't only allow you to think bigger, but it'll allow you to create the pathways to get you there. And that's what's happened to me consistently over the last 11 years. So I turned 30 pounds in my bank account into £500,000 in 10 years. And I was able to buy my house for cash. Now I've got an even bigger goal, because Castile's Castle is up for sale for 3.9 million. So I've got to be able to generate enough money to put a deposit down on that and create a business plan out of it. So that's, for me, entirely possible, because I think it's possible. So if you want some steps and actions, because everybody wants steps and actions, don't they? Step number 1 is sit down and really think about what's holding you back. What's stopping you right now in this very moment that you're in, watching me on this live? What is stopping you from thinking really big? What are the niggles that are there? What are the things that are sitting on your shoulder saying, you can't do this? You don't have the skills, you're not good enough. What is it that's holding you back from thinking really abundantly? Do you think you're not entitled? Do you think you're not worthy? Do you think you've not got the skills? Okay, those are the things that are potentially going on in your head right now. So there's some easy solutions to that. If you haven't got the skills, that's easily solved. Go out and find them. Work with somebody who's done it. Go and find books. Go and find training programs. Go and find. That's what I did. I invested in myself. So here's the very formula I started with. I forgave everybody and everything that had happened to me and let it go. I got my ducks in a row. So what do I need to live on? What's the bare minimum? Let's drill that down. What do I need to live on? What income have I got coming in? And how do I invest that disposable income in the best way so that I have not only happiness and feel abundant, but I'm also saving for the bigger abundance that I want in the future? And there's a formula to that. So I got my ducks in a row, and I've literally just written this. If I could show you what I'd written, I would show you the page right now, but it's on my laptop here. And I'd got my ducks in a row, drilled it down, done all the comparison sites, got it down to the absolute minimum that I needed to live on in my council house with my kids and with my dogs, paying for dance lessons, paying for pet insurance, running the car, all of that. What was my ducks in a row number? And what was I earning? So I had £200 of disposable income when I hit that ducks in a row number. That's it. But I made the decision to invest that that disposable income on a ratio of 40, 30, 30. 40% into savings and investments, 30% invested in me and my self-development and my business, and 30% into feeling abundant and being able to do abundant activities with my children so that they didn't feel like they were missing out. And I stuck with that ratio for many, many years because it enabled me to create a portfolio. So I had £200 of disposable income. The next question I asked myself is, how do I double that? How do I turn £200 of disposable income into 400? And that was about creating another income stream. And abundance thinking is about taking it back to basics. Ducks in a row, disposable income, a formula for your disposable income. And it may be that you've got debt. I didn't have debt because I was bankrupt. So let's just be really open about that. I was bankrupt, so I had no debt. And it may be that the ratio for you isn't 40, 30, 30. Maybe it's 40, 20, 20, 20, 20% on your debt, 40% into savings, 20% into feeling abundant, 20% investment in you. Your ratio depends on your circumstances. You have to work that ratio out. I'm not going to dictate anything. All I can tell you is what I did and what I do, because I only ever speak from experience. So my job then was to turn that £200 of disposable income into more disposable income so that I could follow the same ratio. And that made the job really easy because I was sitting with my ducks in a row with the income I had. So how do I create another £200 of disposable income? I'll put it out to the universe. I'll tell people that I'm looking for additional work in this area. And remember, when I lost everything 11 years ago, I wasn't a high-flying manager anymore. I set up a cleaning business. Okay, so I went from being a senior leader to being a cleaner. So what I said was, right, okay, here's my disposable income. I need another client paying me £50 a week so that I can have £200 more of disposable income. That will fit in with the children's school and the children's dance lessons. I can do that. That's what I need to manifest. So I told people about it. And it didn't take very long for that to happen for me. So when that happened, I was like, okay, so if I can do that, I can maybe triple it. So let's have a look at how I can fit that into my life and how I can manifest that. And that, ladies and gents, is how I went about changing my abundance thinking. Because as more income came in, my expenses didn't go up. My ducks in a row remained the same. My forgiveness and gratitude was a daily activity so that I never held on to anything. I let everything go. That became the foundations of life for me, so that I didn't hold on to any negatives. I became very positive in my thinking, always looking for opportunities. And I decided to say yes to pretty much every opportunity that came up and then work out if it fit or not, so that I could really create this abundance. I looked at what I had, because obviously when you're bankrupt, you have nothing. The only thing I had was my pension. So I had this pension pot. I couldn't touch it for 10 years because I was only 45 when all of this happened. So it was not accessible to me. So therefore, I had nothing to lose. I made a decision to contact a financial advisor, talk about this pension, talk about my disposable income, set up some really big savings, higher risk savings, because I had nothing to lose, and really go for it and invest this money well, but take really good quality advice. And this is a real key action point for you. When you are starting to think abundantly, it's really difficult to think abundantly if you don't know the detail of how you are trying to think abundantly. You will need some help along the way. Financial advisors generally don't charge you. Good financial advisors will come and do a full financial review for you. They make their money off the products that you invest in. You don't usually have to pay them. So there doesn't have to be an outlay there. So it's about recognizing that you can't always get there on your own. And sometimes you've got to invest in yourself and invest in knowledge in order for you to make the best quality decisions that will get you to this place of abundance that you really want to get to. So if I really want to get to my castle, I've got to know the numbers that are going to get me there. And I've done that this week. And this goes back to my abundance thinking. If I move my laptop, I have to work out which way to move now. If I move my laptop slightly out of the way, you can see behind the naked lady there's a big piece of wallpaper on the wall. And I posted that earlier on in the week. And that was my planning session with my digital artisan and all things tech manager, Nathan, where we actually crunched the numbers on how we get to the Scottish castle. So if it's £3 million, we need a 20% deposit, which is 600,000. We need the stamp duty, which is 326,000. Then we're going to need some furniture and removals. So we need £1 million. So how do we get £1 million? What's the numbers that deliver £1 million, and how long is that going to take? That's abundance thinking. It's knowing what the big goal is and working backwards. All of this I teach on my signature program because I've been through it, and I've been through it from having nothing to having a house and equity worth £500,000. So I've got £500,000 towards my castle. I've just got to make another £500,000 now in the next couple of years. And that's very doable because I am a more experienced person than I was 11 years ago. I'm a better businesswoman than I was 11 years ago because I've had 11 years to learn loads of things, to think differently, and to create a different lifestyle. So that's what I'll say to you. Every single time I come to you and at you from a place of experience, I will never share with you anything that is not fact or that I've experienced myself. So what I want to say to you right now is, if I can do it, you can do it. I don't care who you are, and I don't care what your level of experience is. If I can make those sorts of big changes and shifts in my thinking, then so can you. Because it's about three things. It's about educating yourself and finding people that can help you. It's about knowing exactly where you want to go and thinking big enough to get there. And then it's about communicating that to the universe, to the world, to people that you know, so that they can help you on your journey towards abundance. Because if you know this and keep it to yourself, how on earth are you going to get there? You all now know that I want a Scottish castle. You know this. You know what my budget is. You know I've worked the numbers. If you see a Scottish castle come on the market, do you know who you're going to send a message to? Me. Why? Because I've told you about it. And this is how this thing called the universe works. It's actually about really just great communication. And communication, as I understand it, is the most important thing that we do as human beings. From eye contact to body language to speech, we've got the ability to communicate with each other at a really high level. Unlike other primates out there, we have this ability to communicate. And when you communicate really, really well with other people, which is the universe, by the way, guys, we're all energy, with other people and in society, and people know where you're going and what you want, this is how you are going to be able to change your abundance and your thinking. Because also, the more you speak things out loud, and the more you discuss your goals and dreams, and the more you actually, evening, Rachel, lovely to see you. I thought you were on holiday. I hope you're enjoying it. The more that you speak what it is that you want to whoever, wherever, whenever, the more that you wire your brain to believe it. And this is all about believing what you say, believing what you think, and taking yourself on a journey where you absolutely know, like you know, that you're going to get there. And that is a skill in itself. And it's a learned behavior for me. I wasn't born this way, you know. I was born the same as the rest of you. I came out screaming, crying, shitting and puking like the rest of you. I'm no different to anybody else on this planet. These are learned behaviors. So if anyone tells you you can't do it, they're wrong, not you. Because you absolutely can. And that's why I show up every week, you know, to do these lives, and I give you all this information on my pages, and I share loads of value with you, because I inherently believe that every single human being has the ability to achieve great things. But until you believe it, you can't change anything. So it starts with you. And it starts with you believing in yourself. And that can take some work. What I'm not unaware of is that some people find that harder than others. It can take some work to work on yourself till you have the self-belief, the absolute unshakable self-belief that you can do this. Then it takes some work on letting go of the past and letting go of the things that hinder you, forgiving people. Then it takes some work on being really grateful. And then you need to become the greatest communicator. It's like the greatest showman. You have to become the greatest showman. This person who's going to stand up and be really animated and communicate to the world around them exactly what they want, so that their vibration is high, and the vibration being sent out to the surrounding area is high, and everybody gets it and understands it and knows where you're going, because your vibrations are telling everybody. You're like a beacon, like a radio signal for positivity and abundance. Then that comes back to you at the same high level of vibration, because what you put out is what you get back, always. If you are a complainer and a moaner and you put out nothing but negativity, do you know what you get back in your life? Exactly the same. It's like a mirror. It really is. If you're a hypochondriac and you're always sick and that's all you talk about, generally the people around you are going to be sick as well, because they're going to talk back in the same way that you talk to them. If your kids are shouty, I'm going to pretty much guarantee it's because you are. Now, I'm not saying that as a rule of puff, and I'm not criticizing anybody, but the only person you can change in your life is you. You can't force change on anyone else. So if you want a different life, your starting point is you, your behavior, your thoughts. And if you want abundance, you have to change your thinking to think abundantly. And it's a process. Everything in life is a process, and everything in life needs a strategy. Because if you don't have a strategy, even if your strategy only is forgive and let go and be grateful, focus on what you really, really want and then communicate really well, that's a strategy. You don't have to have complex formulas in there, although a formula works. It's always worked for me. And you don't have to have complex strategies. You just need some sort of strategy. Because if you flounder through life thinking things are going to come to you without some sort of backup strategy, thought processes, actions that you take, it's like being a fish out of water and you're just going to flap about on the bank there. And nothing's going to happen but inevitable death, really, isn't it? You've got to be able to back up your thoughts and what you want in life with some sort of process. And it's really the only way to get to anything. And that's where abundance thinking comes from. So when I talk about abundance, and I probably said this in my post just today, abundance to me these days is all of the art equipment. I literally can't go in an art shop without spending a couple of £100. Even though I don't need it. So there's about 4 canvases in here at the minute. That's about 6 months of paintings for me, because they take a while. But I'll still buy another one when I'm in the next art shop. So abundance is having enough art materials so that I can create what I want when I want. Abundance for me is making sure that when my kids open the fridge, they can get what they want to eat. Abundance is having the time, the abundance of time to go out on long walks on the beach with my dogs. And abundance is my path to my Scottish castle. That path, that abundance path. And abundance comes in so many different ways, but noting all of that, I never once said £, money, cash. Because for me, the cash is a lag indicator of everything else you do and all the behaviors that you demonstrate on a daily basis. Every action that you take, every conversation that you have, and anybody that has a conversation with me 3 or 4 times in a week, and if Nick's watching, she'll confirm this. Yeah, anyone who has a conversation with me more than once in a week will get the same sort of things all the time. What's your intent behind that? What's your objectives behind that? What's your thought process behind that? What do you expect from doing that activity? What do you expect to get back from it? And I say this all the time. It's a regular narrative for me in every conversation and whoever it's with, even with my kids, and they don't even know I'm doing it. But, why are you doing that? What's the point of doing that? What do you want to get out of it? Is normal for me, because that's where abundance thinking comes from. It's about recognizing that everything you say, everything that you do, everything that you think is going to move you towards where you want to be if you do it in the right way. And I mean this, it works both ways. So if you spend your time going, I am sick of debt. Every letter I get is debt. Everything costs so much money, blah, blah. Every time the kids come home from school, it's another trip. That's actually what you're doing, is bringing more of that. And that's the ethos of The Secret. For those of you that haven't watched it, you need to watch it. Can't believe that there's anybody left on the planet that hasn't watched or read The Secret. The law of attraction. It is about that. If that's the way you talk, oh, life is bad, life is terrible, debt is horrible, guess what? More shows up. When you change your narrative and you change the way you approach absolutely everything, it doesn't matter what it is, then things change for you. That's abundance thinking. Abundance thinking is about flipping your narrative into the positive in every single thing that you do. So even if I wake up in the morning and my arthritis is bad and my knee is sore, I swing my legs over that bed, get dressed, and I go down the beach with the dog and go for a walk. And I am grateful for living less than a minute from the beach. And I am grateful for the ability to go and walk on the sand. And I am grateful that my 13 and a bit year old dog is still able to get up and down the stairs with me, and that so am I. I am not complaining about the arthritis. I am grateful that I can still do it in whatever way that I can. And that's about flipping your narrative and flipping your script. You have to do it from the second you get up in the morning to going to bed at night and find gratitude. And believe me, I'm here tonight talking to you about positivity in a time where I only lost my husband 10 weeks ago, the love of my life, my soulmate. So if I can do this, so can you. I don't expect anybody to do anything that I don't do myself, and that includes my children and my dogs. Okay, so that's just the way it is. So abundance thinking is about you being who you say you are, being who you think you are, and being who you project that you are now and into the future. It's about everything that you do. It's about everything that you say. It's about every eye movement, hand movement, body language, everything. So if you need help with that, today's the day that you can decide that you're going to do something about it. Go buy that book. Go sign up for that course. Go work with that person that you are attracted to and that you like what they're saying. It doesn't have to be me. But take action today, because only when you take action can you bring the change that you want to see into your life. I hope that that's been of some help for you tonight. That's made you think a little, and that you've written down with your pen at least 2 or 3 actions that you can take that move you into abundance thinking, because I think everybody deserves to have abundance. You do, I do. Everybody does. Nobody should live in poverty. Nobody should live in lack. Everybody should have access to and be entitled to abundance on this planet. Have a wonderful evening. I am now going to take my plate away from my dinner, and I am going to relax and watch something on the TV because I've done enough work for today. I will see you again at the same time and in the same place next Tuesday evening, talking about the R in ARIA, which is resilience. So I will see you then. Much love and colour. Bye for now.